Pearsall, whatever his first name is, I forgot.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Anyway, AFC time. Buffalo Bills, AFC East. Buffalo Bills 6-2.
You got to give them an A, man.
Without question. 8-2.
I sold on them the moment I heard Stephon Diggs leaving, and maybe it's due to a change in the offensive strategy. And then they added in Amari Cooper in seemingly flawless fashion. I'm not one of these that's going to say Bills Super Bowl contender or anything like that yet. I am prepared to say, however, they've locked themselves into the playoffs, not only with their improved play, but the rest of the division falling apart.
At this point, the conversation about the Bills right now is only about seeding for them.
Correct.
Number 1 seed, 2. Because the division is, they are what? They have right now currently a 4-game lead without the tiebreakers. Okay? When he added a tiebreaker with Miami, that's 5 games. When he added the tiebreaker with the Jets, which they beat, that's 5 games.
On that specifically, correct, yeah.
So, I mean, they're already ahead. At this point, the focus, well, obviously you want to win games, but the focus should be now, if we're not getting the 1 seed to catch KC based on the fact they're unbeat right now, can we at least get the 2 seed?
No. You're getting the 1 seed, so you have a fighting chance to not play an Arrowhead when it matters.
Right. Well, right. Right now, the Chiefs have a 2-game lead right now currently on them. So, but I'm saying that that's the goal. Highest seed as possible. So, A for me. I almost go A+ because remember, they lost Stephon Diggs. There was discussions about this team. Is this team a playoff team? I foolishly had them missing the playoffs this year. I was wrong.
I had them sneaking in by default.
Josh Allen has been phenomenal this year. I think through this week, I'm not sure it happened this week or not, but he's going to pick all year long.
By the way, one of their losses against the Texans, everybody's like, oh, Josh Allen went 9 for 30 because he was concussed in the football game, and C.J. Stroud needed to pull off a Patrick Mahomes II style miracle to beat the Bills.
I was wrong. He threw his first pick of the year this week at Seattle. He has 1 pick this year. That's it. That's amazing. For Josh Allen, and knowing Josh Allen's history, come on now.
31-10. Anyways.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, you know what? Fuck it. A+ to Buffalo Bills Mafia. Let's go.
Got him.
All right, Miami Dolphins 2-5.
Yeah, I'm actually going to officially do it. Incomplete. Tua's injury situation coming out the way that it did in week 2 annihilated this team. I'm not prepared to grade them for where Tua's out for most of that tenure. Their defense was already going to be bad anyway. I knew that going in. I still had this team able to win 11 games in August in my mind based on that offense, and then Tua'd. And yeah, so there you go.
I'm going D because I agree with the defense part, but the defense prior to this week when Tua's out did start playing much better, and it gave them a chance to win the game. Their offense was terrible.
Yes.
Terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They could have stolen a few games without Tua.
Well, now that you know who Tim Boyle is, you know exactly why.
Right. They could have stolen the Colts game if they score 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown.
Just as many as Tim Boyle got in all of college as a UConn Husky.
That's right. So to me, it's the fact that they haven't been able to squeeze out 1 additional win. And then Tua gets back. The offense is back, but then the defense is shit this week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a D.
It's interesting you said the word squeeze out and then talk about the defense being shit, but I digress.
Yeah, but the defense regressed after Tua gets. Oh, Tua's back. We can relax a little bit now. Mm-hmm. No, can't do that, buddy. You're 2-5 now. All right, the New York Jets 2 and oh boy, here we go. 2-6. This will be fun.
I think this will be the shortest part of the segment. F. Cue up Lucifer Morningstar. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
Same here. F. Aaron Rodgers is the problem. You know,
and by the way,
it's bad.
Put him on in-school suspension too for continuing to break the rules.
Yeah, I mean, this is bad. I mean, we the reason I'm not going to elaborate much further on this is because we've been discussing this for week upon week for this on a report for the first 8 weeks of the year. I'm tired about it. They are who they are now. They're 2-6. They are one of the worst teams in football. They are the offensive bad. Everything's bad. Everything's bad. Aaron Rodgers is bad. Let's move on. Fuck them.
And then, by the way, I expect an apology to little Robbie Saleh. Thank you.
Yeah, because apparently he was a problem. Apparently he was the problem. Good job, Rodgers. All right. New England Patriots 2-6.
That's the problem. Good job, Rodgers. Obviously another F. Okay? Listen, I already gave you the pamphlet on what it is and how important it is to kick your habit of ACC quarterbacks. And then you, Patriots, went out and got one and thought he'd save the day. And your answer to get him to learn was to bring in another ACC quarterback to fill the gap. Granted, Jacoby Brissett was probably the better choice to start.
Wait, so you're not a Drake May fan?
I am not a Drake May fan.
I know that. It's a joke. That's the joke.
That's the joke. Well, see, here's the thing. We got to make it very clear because there might be somebody who accidentally thinks I'm a Zach Wilson fan because of that. So also no. But yeah.
There are people, though, in this space that we know, not on a Hello podcast, but on this podcast, that for weeks I've been saying, and I see the argument. I disagree with the premise of the argument.
Before we tell me.
Yeah, I'm getting it now. Defending Zach Wilson. And the fact that...
Don't forget to bring a towel. That's my answer.
Zach Wilson, in the sense that this team was better Zach Wilson's quarterback last year than Aaron Rodgers this year.
All I'm suggesting is that you not build an HR department for the Earnestly Speaking podcast yet, because this person would obviously fail the test.
Right.
It's the drug test I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, exactly what you're talking about.
Because you have to be high to think that that's a defense.
No, he's not saying that was good. He's just saying that the fact that if you're going to be this bad with Aaron Rodgers and paying that kind of money, just keep Zach Wilson and just be just as bad.
So the correct answer, if we're going to actually entertain this bullshit premise, was to never get rid of Mike White in the first place. Like it should be.
Oh, that I agree with 100%.
Next question.
I 100% agree with that one. But I think it's a little harsh to Patriots, though. A little harsh on there.
Yes, I am.
Because they are who I thought they were. In fact, they probably should have been worse than I thought they were.
You were going to be awful, and you're awful. You get an F. Next question.
No. They'd be awful, and you're actually.
Gerard Merrill was a terrible hire as well.
Conversation. Well, that maybe. But here's the thing, though. I thought they'd be worse than 2-6 at this point in the year. I had them as the worst team in football coming to the year. Worse than Carolina. Yes. So they're going to get a D from me just because of that. They beat the Bengals week 1.
Actually, wait. They made you so excited that they get a D from you? Well, that's on you, buddy.
It's still disappointment. It's still bad. But
that's what the D was for. Disappointment. Gotcha.
I thought they would be allegedly. No. But
you are a Patriots team,
you know it. I'm a little bit biased there. No, shut up. No, but I thought they'd be 0-8, 1-7 at this point now. So they are actually slightly better than I thought they'd be this year by record.
Better?
Slight.
Can you at least make it a D- and not sound like an idiot?
Fine, D-. Yeah, D-. Okay. Yeah. But they're fucking bad, though. They're fucking bad.
That's what the F is.
And by the way, Drake May did play okay in some of the spots he was in.
Sure.
They pulled trigger late on that one. So that's just whatever. All right. AFC North. Raven. Well, no, so Steelers first, 6-2.
How can you give them anything less than an A?
Yeah.
You may not like how they do it, and you may not have expected it, but if you question the prognosis of Dr. Foreman, it's on you. Sorry, Omar Epps. Sorry, Mike Tomlin. It's on you.
It's A for me also too, because I thought this is the year that the Tomlin, not losing 500 record. Clearly, that's not going to happen this year.
Because some jackass out there is going to say something about it. Yes, if Russell Carrington Wilson starts to struggle, then they will get a worse grade at that point. Duh.
How they are 6-2 and have navigated a quarterback situation like the way they have, you got to credit that stability. Again,
TJ Watt is what a teacher's pet looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, Mike Tomlin, I know there are Steelers fans who listen to this podcast, and some I'm friends with also too, that are tired of Mike Tomlin. I know that
those are people that don't like good football and are also idiots. I said it.
Yeah, but here's the reality. You get used to quality, and you won't appreciate it anymore. Lose quality, and see what happens here. Mike Tomlin.
It looks like that's a good point. By the way, I also hear that in his latest track, DJ Khaled is going to feature Mike Tomlin because all he does is win, no matter what.
And no matter what part is actually very apropos because of he hasn't had a good quarterback since Big Ben was actually good, which is now we're closing on like at least 8 years now.
We know you think he should have retired 4 years before he did. Blah blah blah.
But there you go, and yet they're still 500 better every year. So real be that. Just saying. So yeah, A for B for the Steelers. Great job. All right, the Ravens 5-3. This is tough, actually.
B+. Because they're disappointing to me slightly. Yeah. But Lamar Demetrius Jackson is still a god and should be the MVP of the NFL if it were to be voted right now.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat too. Also B+, because again, start 0-2, and the Browns loss, not a total surprise. I had Browns on the points anyway from gambling point of view. Right. I thought there was definitely a chance they could, because they do this shit all the time. The Ravens, they do this shit. They play down opponents and
AFC North physics for those divisional games are stupid, but they're also the Browns, just like with the Jags. I said this going on the Barking Browns podcast. Actually,
what was that?
Walked in the comments by Browns fans in stating that the Jags had a bad matchup with the Browns on the interior line, the Jags offensive interior line versus the Browns interior defensive line, and got mocked by Browns fans that's something that could make the difference. By the way, do you remember how the Browns won that game, EJ? No, you don't, because you don't actually cover football. I'll tell you, it was off of a goddamn safety that was a collapsed inner pocket for the Jags, meaning the very thing I pointed out decided the fucking game. Suck it, Browns fans. But I say all of the above to say that the Ravens find themselves in that same space. And look what also happened. You got rid of the cancer and you won a football game.
Makes sense. Back to the Ravens real quick though. B+ to B2 also. Obviously a little disappointing because of the the losses. The Raiders lost, Browns lost. Obviously don't look good. But again, this is what the Ravens do. And for the record, we're not judging them anyway based on that anyway. At this point, they're a team that we're judging on. Can they get to the Super Bowl? That's all we care about for the Ravens now. They are a bonafide playoff team every year. They also are on pace who I thought they'd be anyway. I had them losing win the division, but they'll be a 3 or 4 seed, and then getting hot in the playoffs. So they're actually on pace where I thought they'd be anyway. So yeah. I'm not like worried. Am I worried? No. I do think there's some things about John Harbaugh we got to discuss though going forward, because John Harbaugh is why they lost this game this past Sunday. How the fuck do you get Derrick Henry 11 carries in that game? I don't understand that, but that's the here and there. Just saying.
Well, if your interior line is getting smashed up, which I haven't seen all the film I would like to for that game to make that decision, but if that was happening, that's a reason why you might stop running. Just throwing it out there.
Okay. All right.
I mean, listen, if we're talking about disappointment, it's not the Browns game, it's the goddamn Raiders game.
Of course.
Them in A. I mean, well, you say of course, and haven't brought it up yet. What the fuck?
I did say. I said too. They play down opponents, and the Browns game's not as a big surprise as we thought.
Due respect, buddy. When you say down opponents, that includes the Browns as much as it does the Raiders. So I want to.
They are still much better than the Browns, though.
You single out that Raiders game because it is particularly bad.
Right.
Anyways.
Right. Anyway, next team, Bengals
3-5. Disappointing, huh? C-.
Wow.
If they could actually get some defense, they would win some games. And there's just. This team's just in shambles, man. And it's just another, the injuries. Again, at some point, maybe I'm hitting them that hard because I'm traumatized from getting expectations from this team, and then they knock themselves out of it, or the football gods do, one of the two, So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
Well, you're the nice one, not me. This is a D+ for me.
Damn.
It's a D+. And I think the Eagles game is a little more concerning. Like, I could take certain losses and close losses, but you got blown. Losing the Eagles is not a bad thing. It's getting blown out, especially in the second half.
Right.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, and I say that somebody who still, right now, think the Bengals win the playoffs. I have way too much faith in the Bengals right now.
Are out of your fucking mind.
Well, okay.
You're 3-5. Okay. With no semblance of a defense in the toughest division, at least.
Okay, so let's go real quick.
Fucking way.
Let's sidebar a quick 1 minute, real quick right now, because I know I'm going to discuss this. Let's picture the playoffs right now. Bills are in, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Any combination of Ravens, Steelers are in, no matter what division, whatever. So that's 2 spots there. That's 3 spots there. Houston's in definitely. KC's in. Okay, that's 5 spots. You got 2 spots left over. Okay, between the Chargers, Broncos, let's say Colts.
It's not the Colts.
But again, the field is smaller now.
Okay.
Because there's 2 spots and really only 3 teams.
I'm going to make a controversial
Who
statement.
sustains that?
I think the Jags are a bigger playoff threat than the fucking Colts right now.
Okay.
But neither of them make it, let's be clear.
That's not my point, though. The teams in the wild card picture after the 5 I mentioned, who you putting faith in that to get those spots? Like Denver has a spot by virtue of the record, but I still have questions about Denver sustaining this going forward.
But you have no questions about Jim Harbaugh. What are you, Jim Neese?
No, Jim Harbaugh is the one I think will get in. I mean, 6. So there's one more spot left over.
Being a really big Michigan homer.
So one spot between the Broncos, the Bengals, we'll just do it for the Colts, the Jags, and the Bengals. Whatever, yeah, that combination. Who's sustaining that? Who you have more faith in that last spot?
I can say none of them.
That's my point.
That's
my point.
I still don't think the Bengals are a playoff team, man.
If they don't get the playoffs, it's because their own doing. But it's not to say that the path isn't there.
I mean, technically speaking, mathematically, the path's still there for a lot of fucking teams. Like,
yeah, but when you add in the context of like, okay, but this team's in his head, you know what I'm saying?
As you set the table, I think the Broncos and Chargers are better candidates for the playoffs right now than the Bengals. And it's not just about their record being what it is. It's about the
schedule,
the waters they traverse. Correct. The schedule.
Right.
Somewhere in there's other AFC North games that they got to try to win.
Yeah. And again, that may be the case. But the Bengals, I think the Bengals will win those while diminishing. It's still open. Just saying that. But they got to get on the gas now. Now it's time. So,
by the way, a very relevant thing that will solve this conversation, the AFC West. Am I right there? Yeah. The AFC West is on their schedule too, which they've already lost to the Chiefs. Who doesn't? But they have a chance to supplant the Chargers and Broncos both.
There you go. I'm still.
I don't think they can do it.
I'm still. I think my large point is this though. I'm still skeptical of the Broncos right now.
Sure.
Sustaining. Good story. I'm not saying it's a good story, but do I see them competing the deal? I will still say no. Well,
right. Who gives you more evidence of what's going to be clearly happening? Is it the Bengals who come out injured and then falling off at the end as they've done since the Super Bowl year? Or is it the Broncos who we're still kind of trying to figure out what this Knicks kid is?
I mean, if
Sean Payton's actually showing a turnaround, because even though there was controversy with him and Rusty, he did also improve under Sean Payton before he left.
If we're going based on the information we have right now, currently, through the first 8 weeks, you got to go to the Broncos right now. I'm just saying that I'm still skeptical going forward.
And it's not just current information. It's past precedent that we've seen. We know what the Bengals are. They're a team that start hot, get hurt, and fall off. Yeah.
These next 2-3 weeks of the Bengals are critical to this conversation we're having here. All right, last team here, the Browns.
Every week's critical now. They're 3-5.
Yeah, I think the wild card. I do think the wild card bar now in the AFC is going to be 9 wins.
That's fair.
So that's why they have a chance still. I can still see them getting 6 wins between now and then.
The conference being diluted because of injuries and other factors is relevant.
Yes. That's all my point. So I'm not saying. Look, I'm predicting it, but am I putting 10 toes down on it? Fuck no.
I mean, I can make the argument that based on your logic, the Browns are just as viable a candidate.
Honestly,
stop
with that defense, and it's possible.
Don't you even entertain it? It was
nice segue though, buddy. 2-5.
Nice
segue. 2-5. Browns.
Incomplete. We're only actually seeing their starting quarterback play 1 game.
That's a good point. I'm gonna go D+ though, but yeah, good point. Their defense is really amazing. Even when Deshaun was in the lineup, that was the one thing they had going for them. Yeah. And there were games they could have won with him in the lineup too. Still, look, they're not going to playoffs, obviously. But again, the same conversation I'm giving to the Bengals. The only game behind the Bengals now, a half game behind the Bengals now. So the AFC wild card is still a mess.
The Bengals also have the current tie break in that they've won a game. They do correct, so that doesn't matter.
Correct, right. But my point is that no, they're not a playoff team. But can the Browns make things interesting in the AFC going forward now with the new quarterback and Nick Chubb and Chubb is healthy again now too? Also, yes, they can make things a little bit interesting now going forward.
The Browns may be even the ones that spoil the Bengals, but let's not digress too far.
That's very true. So All right, next one. AFC South. Houston Texans 6-2.
They are who we thought they were. Hey, good job. You're a little undisciplined. That's why you're not getting an A+.
I'm gonna go B+. B+.
What the fuck, EJ?
Because they all think they are. They're good. They're good. But I want to see more. Okay, so like they were the hype team coming into the year. They were the hype team. They were like, oh, this team could be, challenge the Chiefs and all that, and they're good 6-2. But does it feel like there's still more on the bone for this team? Like
the undisciplined part.
Like this Colts game, this Colts lost. They wouldn't beat the Colts this week, but that game was nip and tuck.
It's also a divisional game, and
true.
The Colts always seem to play them tough. That's the only reason why.
Apparently, right? I mean, they're good, B+. But gotta see more, a little more meat in the bone. I mean, they feel a little groggy to the 2. But again, I'd rather be groggy to the 2 and figure things out than be 2-6. So yeah. All right. Speaking of the Colts, 4-4.
See, now how they got to 4-4 may not be pretty, but Anthony Richardson having trouble staying on the field, Joe Flacco coming in and rescuing them. This team's doing exactly what I thought it would do, and it being 4-4 at this point feels like what I had them doing. So yeah, I got to see.
Yeah, I'm going C as well too. They're actually C+. I'll be honest with you. Here's why. They do this with a bad quarterback player now. In Anthony Richardson, which we got to discuss that in the future about whether he's even a quality quarterback in this league anymore.
People talk trash on Anthony Richardson, yet they only lost to the Texans by 3. But okay, sure.
It's more than numbers though. The numbers is bad. And they're better. I thought they'd be this year too. Also, I thought the Jaguars would be better than they are right now record wise, and they're not. So they're actually in a good spot right now. And right now, the playoffs start today. I think they're in actually. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think they're in the playoffs today. All the shit going on. That's the amazing thing about this. So yeah,
this is a team sport, and there's more players on the field.
Yeah, C+ for the Colts. All right, next team. Oh boy, your Jaguars 2-6.
D. There's too many self-inflicted wounds. This team has no excuse. I'm going to even go D-. This team has no excuse to be this bad. If it was just about getting smashed by the Bills the way that they did, fine. But the Browns, the Dolphins, both games that they should have won, and damn near beating the Packers shows you how much potential this team has. But you know what potential is, EJ Christian? You may be good one day, but right now you suck. D-.
Yeah, I'm going D- as well too. Also, this should be a lot better than this. I almost want to go F, almost.
But Trevor Lawrence is too good for that.
He's having a good year, actually.
People don't want to accept that. The Emmanuel Ochos of the world want to tell me how bad he is.
Well, we don't talk about this guy in this podcast unless you want to bring him up. But anyway, I'll go. I'll go D. I'll go D. Disappointment, not D-. D.
Yeah, D getting excited for D again.
Yeah, I like D. Peacock. Finally, Tennessee Titans 1-7.
F with a picture of Lucifer Morningstar right next to it, especially for the General Mike Patton and Cortland Griffin of the 3-point conversion. I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. Thank you.
Easy F. And it's Dustin Fire. They trade Hopkins. You probably should consider trade Ridley as well too, because he's disgruntled now there. Yeah, they look bad, and they're getting worse and worse by the week.
Oh, Calvin Ridley's not happy? Take your money and shut the fuck up, you hands having fool.
I can argue that they're worse than Carolina. I can argue that right now.
I don't know that you'd win, but I'd listen.
I can argue that. Their one win is against the Dolphins team without Tua. But that's it. They're an easy F. Okay, AFC West, last division here. Kansas City Chiefs 7-0.
Why are we not giving them an A? Why is this even a conversation? It's an A.
It's an A, not an A+, because they're good, they're great, and they can still get better.
I know. Patrick LeVon Mahomes II, worst statistical year, blah, blah, blah. This is a defensive team. These are team grades, not quarterback grades, not profile picture ratings, of whether you're hot or not.
Just say it. Championship pedigree.
The pedigree isn't the right word. There's
care.
No pedigree. These are all guys that did it before. This isn't pedigree. These are the same fucking dudes. That's not pedigree. That's consistency. Pedigree is if it's the next team that also does it. right? Here's an example of pedigree. Shaq and Kobe Lakers, Kobe and Gasol Lakers. That's pedigree. It's two different generations. Kobe needed help for both. And in the interim there, he whined and wanted to get traded, which everybody seems to forget about. May he rest in peace. But that is pedigree, not what you keep saying.
Also, the schedule, too. It's not like they're playing easy schedule either. They play tough teams. They beat the Ravens, beat the Bengals, beat the Falcons.
Eagles are not a tough team. Stop it. The Falcons are not a tough team. Stop it.
Well, I mean, look, they beat the Chiefs. No, they beat the Chargers. They beat the Niners. Banged up. I get it. But they're winning games that, it's to win all the games.
Clear and present signature win is opening week, period.
Yeah. So, but still, it's an A for me. All right. The Broncos, 5-3.
How do you not give this team an A or an A minus, even if you want to be a little critical? I mean,
it's an A. It's an A.
One of their wins is 10-9 over the Jets. How impressed are you? But yeah, A minus.
Yeah, A for me. I thought they'd be a little bit frisky, but not this good. Not this good. And the thing is that they're 5-3 and still figure out their identity.
So you say Christian is giving them an F for frisky.
Anyway. Yes. Yeah. No. Broncos are A though for me. All right, LA Chargers 4-3.
B. I feel like their easy schedule has given them opportunities that they haven't taken full advantage of. I am not in any way here to say I am disappointed in the Harbaugh debut. In fact, quite the contrary. I'm rather impressed with how close they've kept some of these games, frankly, even with Herbert getting a few injuries here and there. The loss to the Cardinals doesn't look that bad, honestly.
In hindsight, no.
Yeah. So, and they dominated those teams that are frauds. They didn't just sneak by. They won by at least 2 scores in games against the Raiders, Panthers, and Saints. And they won the Bronco game in a tough divisional matchup. Yeah, I got a B.
B+. Jim Harbaugh, culture changer. And you're seeing it here. Everybody doubted me about them. I told you, except when the year started, if this team is in the mix for a wild card spot, don't be surprised. People like, oh, well, it won't be because of the contract situation and that money cap. And I'm like, listen.
We're evaluating this way too soon, though, EJ. We have all also said that their easy schedule in the front is easy. Now, granted,
and they have
easier with the Bengals coming up.
And they have, for the most part, taken care of business so far.
If you want to call 4-3 taking care of business, I guess.
I mean, so the loss to the Steelers, not a good loss, obviously. I mean, it's a good loss, but it's a good team, but still not a good loss. Cardinals.
The Steelers are a tough football team, and there might be the only.
That's what I'm saying. Measuring up against them,
that plays Harbaugh football better than Harbaugh.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's my point, though. They have that losses to teams that
Well, you said it was a bad loss.
No. What I'm saying is that wording is wrong. Obviously, if we want to measure this team up against the best teams in the conference, they're not there yet. In other words,
that's fair. Sure.
However,
there
are people who said this Chargers season is going to be disastrous here because of the change they made because of the dead cat money and all the stuff.
They weren't on this show. They were national press that don't understand.
Oh no. It was on the Huddle Up podcast, buddy, too. Also,
who?
If I'm not mistaken. I think when I said so. This came up because I'm gonna tell you now. So this came up during our prediction. It was actually on the simulcast we did on your show.
Sure.
We did our predictions for the year, and I said I'll take the Browns in the playoffs, but it's either Browns or Chargers. I was on the fence on those two teams.
Right, and we laughed at you on the Browns. I still don't understand.
I got pushed back on the Chargers also too.
From whom?
I think Jim was one of those people that was laughing up.
You expect me to believe that the Jim Harbaugh homer on the show of Huddle Up podcast?
I gotta find the tape.
You'd best.
I'll find the tape.
Continue.
But in any case, B+. Final team 2-6 Raiders. Let's get through this.
F next. Do we have to really talk about this? You got people wanting to leave. Uncle
D-,
quarterback.
Yeah,
and
D-.
Unfortunately, your guy Antonio Pierce was not designed for the job that this would take. Nobody.
D-. I'm surprised. They feel like an 0-18, don't they?
Kind of.
But the 2-6.
The Ravens helped take care of that.
I mean, the reason I'll give it D minus because they beat the Ravens.
No, the only reason why you're doing that is because you're excited about giving people D.
And they are a competitive team, though. They are still competitive because of that, But yeah, they're not good.
Is that the bar? Well, you were still competitive, so
Yeah. Well, that was fun. That's gonna cost a ball.